today we're unpacking a really fascinating concept from our source material. It's this idea of guaranteed success, of constant growth, which the authors call being fruitful at all times.
That's right. We're looking at it through the lens of a devotional text, Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris. And our mission here is to really get into how these sources define this. It's presented as a kind of spiritual heritage.
A heritage that works regardless of what's going on around you.
Exactly. Whether the environment is hostile or friendly, it doesn't matter. The whole idea is that opposition actually becomes an opportunity.
It turns adversity into an advantage. That's a huge claim.
It is. It sort of removes all the usual conditions we think of for success.
Okay, so let's start with the mechanism. How do they claim these external limits get, destroyed? The main text they lean on is Isaiah 10.27.
Yes. It says, the burden and the yoke, which is basically a restriction, shall be destroyed because of the anointing.
And the interpretation of that word anointing is really the key here, isn't it?
It's everything. Because the source material points out that it also means fatness. It's not just a spiritual idea. It's a metaphor for tangible growth, for unstoppable increase.
So you're not just breaking the chain. You're literally getting too big for the chain to hold you anymore?
Precisely. The individual enlarges so much that the thing that once constrained them, the yoke, simply can't contain them. It shatters.
Wow. And this is all linked to grace? They draw that from Ephesians?
Yes, but the practical side is what's so compelling. How this translates into success when, all logic says you should be failing.
Well, that brings us right to the case study they use, which is the story of Isaac in Genesis.
Right. The ultimate example of this principle in action.
So if the anointing means you outgrow constraints, what happens when the constraint is something as huge as a widespread famine?
And that's where it just defies logic. Isaac goes and sows his seeds during this severe famine. I mean, who does that?
You'd think he'd just be trying to survive.
Anyone would. But the result wasn't just survival. The source says he reaped 100-fold return.
100-fold. In that same year.
In the very same year. Yeah. It's an increase that didn't just ignore the economy, it completely overwhelmed it. So much so that the Philistines around him just became envious.
So for you listening today, facing maybe a tough job market or health challenges, what's the takeaway?
The material is very clear. It asserts that this same supernatural force is available today for your finances, for your health, your ministry, every area.
But it's not automatic, is it? Breaking the chains is one thing, but how do you stay free?
That's the next critical piece. This brings us to Psalm 1. It's like the operating manual for sustaining this prosperity.
So the anointing removes the limit, and Psalm 1 provides the formula to keep it that way.
Exactly. It sets up some very specific conditions. It raises this question of input. The outcome is guaranteed, but you have a part to play.
Which is not walking in the counsel of the ungodly, but instead delighting and meditating on the law of the Lord.
Day and night. That's the input the source material says is absolutely necessary to activate the guarantee.
And the metaphor they use for this is so powerful. You become like a tree planted by rivers of water.
Which means the resources are constant. The tree brings forth fruit in its season. Its leaf doesn't wither.
And then there's that incredible final line, whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. It's so absolute.
But notice it says, whatsoever he doeth. It's active. The sources emphasize that this isn't passive. You have to speak words of faith. You have to act on the word. That's how you manifest the power.
So if we bring this all together, this really shows that the source material draws a direct line between spiritual blessing and a kind of supernatural, unconditional increase.
It does. And the core message really is to stay conscious of this reality, to know that this is your established heritage.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to take away.
If true fruitfulness is promised to defy things like the economy or hostile environments, what current limitation in your own life might actually be an indicator, maybe even a sign of a coming opportunity?
Right, provided you meet those internal requirements laid out in Psalm 1.
Something to think about.
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.